Do you have you worked on any of the other types of circuits, overdrive or anything, or is it pretty much only fuzz?
Well, I mean, essentially audio circuits, especially clipping circuits, are all the same. I mean, it's all terminology. Distortion, overdrive, boost, and fuzz are doing something. They're taking a signal, they're amplifying it, and then they're clipping. They're adding clipping or they're not adding clipping. A boost, there's no clipping. It's just amplifying your signal. Overdrive or a distortion or a fuzz are just different subcategories that we've kind of maybe invented to help kind of differentiate certain characteristics that we've decided are relevant. But ultimately, like, you have hard clipping, soft clipping, square wave. You've got all these different things that you can sort of like attribute to anything, and all of these things. And on an oscilloscope, which doesn't lie, these are all just messing with your waveform. So yeah, I've built rats. I've built like the rat is one of my favorite circuits of all time, and it's kind of like really cool because it can go from like overdrive to distortion to fuzz. And I'm actually currently this is kind of like an FX Pedal Planet exclusive right now.
Ah,
I'm working on a commission right now for it's going to be a Mark One tone bender into a rat with an order switch, with just a volume knob for each circuit, an on-off switch for each circuit, and that's it. I'm gonna fix the filter and the distortion on the rat, so it gives you that kind of Tom Petty amp-like chimey grit, So when you dig in, it kind of gives up a little bit of clipping, and then when you back off, it's kind of stringy. And then I'm gonna tune the Mark One for just a nice ripping Mark One, and then you're gonna get volume and the ability to either run the Mark One into the rat or run the rat into the Mark One with a switch. And
wow.
I'm calling that the koi poo. Which is actually it's an aquatic rodent that gets to be about 4 or 5 pounds. They have really big teeth. They're scary. So the koi poo, the big aquatic rodent, it's the rat Mark One combo. So
Superb. That sounds
yeah,
brilliant.
it's gonna be a fun one. And rats are they're classic. Diodes, JFETs, and you've got your op amp, and that's basically the same premise as a lot of those kind of golden age, late 70s, early 80s clipping circuits, because around that time everybody figured out op amps are easier, microchips are easier than having a bunch of transistors and resistors piled up on a circuit board. So let's cram them all into a chip and just pop it right in the box. And because that's all an op amp is. It's actually an array internally with transistors and resistors. It's basically, it's all happening inside of this little enclosure. So there's a lot more overlap with all these things than people want to talk about.
Yeah.
It's I think that I would like to at some point maybe build like a filter. That would be fun. I like envelope filters a lot. I think
Yeah.
phasers are cool. I like phasers.
Yeah,
But
me too.
for the most part, I think fuzz is this kind of like very limitless world with like a very devout following, and I think it's something where with like filters and overdrives and distortions, there are so many people doing so many of those right now.
Hmm.
Am I going to be able to do a rat better than Proco? No. Am I going to be able to do a tube screamer better than Ibanez? No. Am I going to be able to do a Klon better than Bill Finnegan? No. And I don't want to. That's not my goal. I'd rather make these crazy, hard to find, non-existent germanium devices that, like, if you build a Klon, it's going to be a clone. Like if I build a clone or you build a clone, it's going to be a clone. But you, me, Bill Finnegan could all build a Mark One today using the exact same parts measured to have the exact same gain and leakage for each transistor slot, all the same tolerances. We could get it as close to exact as possible, and they would all sound like different fuzzes. It's just that it's hard to it's hard to explain, but basically
Yeah.
that keeps it exciting.
Yeah, sure.
That idea that like each one really truly is a unique experience, and like if you get one, I truly believe if you find a fuzz that you love, you could go buy 3 of the same one and not find that experience again. It's like when you find one that really speaks to you, you got to hold on to it, because it's hard to find that connection. You can try a lot of fuzzes and not get there, and it's like, because they're all so unique, like they're all so organic essentially. But yeah, I like them all though.
Yeah, well, I've got a let me show you. I've got a nice I bought this a few months ago from a guy in Wales.
Oh, cool.
And I was playing around with it, and then I got it on with my Gibson, and then all of a sudden I turned it to about 1 o'clock, and that was it. I was like, that's it. That's the mojo just there. Any more, and it was just like too much for me, and anything less. But that 1 o'clock setting, it's just really nice.
Yeah. I mean, people ask me, can it do more than one thing? And I say, but why? If it does one thing that you love perfectly, then use it for that thing. I've never, I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, I love versatility. I love the ability to tweak. I think it's cool. I think every different kind of approach is cool. Like for a studio, it's really great having something like a fuzz factory, because you can make it oscillate, you can make it scream and do octaves and get gaiety. But like on stage, something like this would drive me crazy personally. Like I can't do 6 knobs on a stage. Like I can't do that. So like for me, like on stage, just give me like a volume and an attack. That's all I want. And I just want it like where it sounds good, a little louder than my clean tone, and like to right where it's starting to crunch, and I'm happy. That's for me. Yeah. Everybody's different, but it's like I just want it to do one really awesome sound that makes me really happy. Because I'm a set it and forget it guy. That's what I like to do with fuzz, especially gigging. I mean, in a studio, it's different, with different guitars, kind of jamming with people in different rooms, it can be different. But like, when you're gigging, you just want something reliable that you plug in and like it does the thing and it sounds awesome. And you can dial it in quickly and it doesn't break easily. And that's kind of, I try to shoot for that kind of pro audio approach at the core of what I do. I want everything to be really durable, really true to form, built using techniques that you would find in vintage professional audio components and stuff like that. And basically, I just want to make sure that the sound is awesome. That's the main thing. Like, so durability and sound quality are at the forefront of what I looked for in a fuzz over functionality. I don't care as much about like 8 knobs as I do about it being like really sturdy and really good sounding. So.
I love the way that you coordinate the wire colors with the enclosure colors and stuff like. It's just nice little touches like that are just so nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I kind of got into doing that, seeing John, but yeah, John Lyons at Basic Audio, who I kind of got into his fuzzes for a little while. He's from West Virginia, I believe, so he's kind of close by. He likes to kind of do really funky finishes, and he makes his own piece. He makes his own PCB with etchant. So he's actually etching his own PCBs, and he spray paints and kind of, matches the back sides to like, his enclosures. And I was like, man, that's just like such a cool detail. I was like, I like what, but his fuzzes are kind of all like, MXR sized, and they're all kind of they're all very like utilitarian, utilitarian builds with very like easily sourced components. And I love what he does, and I wanted to take that kind of aesthetic creativity and apply it more to kind of like a Ghost, Pig Dog, DAM kind of paradigm. Like I wanted to take that sort of wild homemade rusticity and kind of apply it to this like professional super tight, super, funky point to point
Wow.
craziness. So, it's kind of like you want it to be like kind of in between those two worlds. That's what I was shooting for, is like art and pro vintage germanium fun. So, I kind of like to borrow. I kind of like to borrow from everything, just like I do with my music. It's like, like, I the things I listened to growing up are a huge part of what I like to do when I pick up a guitar or, write a song or whatever. So, I bring to the table the things I love about other people's creations to the creations I try to create myself. And kind of, hopefully it comes out being a unique soup that represents me. Cause I mean, like, I could try to be Michael Jackson. I could try really hard to practice those dance moves and sing his songs perfectly.
I think you'd pull those dance moves off.
I could try really hard, but I don't think anyone would be fooled. I don't think anyone would think this guy's Michael Jackson. So, like, I think that I'm very influenced by a lot of people, but I think I have a unique style with pedals where
I do.
It comes out kind of what I do. So, but I love a lot of different builders, and I've been influenced by a lot of different stuff I've seen. If I see something cool, I'm like, I should try that. It looks fun. It looks fun to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a few members' questions. Christopher Hughes has asked, which dead set produces the best fuzzes?
Well, I mean, I think the Dead were kind of one of those groups that, they never like used clipping circuitry in the traditional sense. The way that like they weren't like a fuzz group in the traditional sense. I would say that the spirit of fuzz, the spirit that kind of exploratory, organic unpredictability is what makes their music exciting to me. And it's like, like, I don't listen to them for fuzz. I listen to them just because it's unpredictable and wild. But that's also why I like fuzz. So that's my answer to that, I guess.
Yeah. And Lane Miller asks, well, he's looking for tips on how to get started down the road of point-to-point or turret board circuit building. And have your techniques led to amp building yet?
I haven't built any amplifiers yet, but I really, I'm not particularly intimidated by it. I would like to try it at some point. And, I think I would like to probably start with like a Tweed kit or something like that, like maybe a 5E3 Tweed Deluxe kit maybe for myself. At some point, I haven't done it yet. A list of things to try. I just don't have any time. I'm constantly building fuzzes for people waiting for fuzzes. But, the point-to-point thing, get a really good soldering iron. You need a very high quality soldering iron. That's the thing you should spend money on if you're going to spend money on something. So get like a Hakko FX888 or a Weller WES 51 or something like that. And then get a chisel tip. You need not like a really big fat chisel tip and not a pencil tip. You need a moderately, reasonably sized chisel tip, because that will allow you to heat multiple components at once, or a nice chunky juncture with like a big component and a pad or something like that. You basically need a chisel tip. And I would recommend working at 800 degrees or hotter if you can. And the reason for that, my allegory that I like to bestow upon my students that I talk to from time to time, is that basically it's like baking. It's like toast versus fresh baked bread. If you use a soldering iron that's like 400 degrees or 500 degrees, what you're doing is you're actually going to increase the internal temperature of the component to the point where it will die by the time it's able to fuse, if that makes any sense. Because the lower temperature heats the whole joint too slowly. So your likelihood of killing a component goes up astronomically with lower temperature. And then it's also harder to create good solder joints at lower temperatures. So what you do when you work at a higher temperature is you basically make it so that the surface area is of the component, and the pad or the juncture that you're soldering point to point or whatever is the only thing that gets heated up, because that super intense heat doesn't have time to travel through the component into the component. You won't kill components with a hotter temperature. You'll get a better solder joint, and it will happen more quickly, and the solder will flow more quickly, and it will be more beautiful, and you'll be happier, and it will make your life easier. But you really need a good soldering iron for that. And so, like, good soldering iron, high temperature, use flux core solder, don't use flux free solder. Flux is your friend. It helps heat things more quickly, so it helps the solder joint form more quickly. And then I would say, start simple. You know, do a treble booster. Do like a point-to-point treble booster on tag board. You know, there's some layouts on Google. Go find a layout for a range master. It's like 7 components. You're not going to mess it up. So just do that.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. And finally, what's next for Pat Brown of Collector Effectors? You've achieved so much in the last year. I mean, you've given us a bit of a scoop with the rat pedal, but what are you hoping sort of long term?
I mean, right now, I want to keep growing the business. I want to keep making more customers happy. I want to keep, you know, building really cool fuzzes. I'm really into kind of doing these vintage fuzz kind of runs right now. That's been a lot of fun for me. So I'm kind of into, like, I want to keep that going, kind of like, you know, putting my spin on historical kind of touchstones, and also doing custom work. And I think what I'd like to do is possibly this year might be the year that I start approaching dealers with possibly doing kind of small batches of dealership runs, because I think that would be a cool way to get the products out into the masses. And I think it would be a cool way to establish relationships that will make for a better long-term strategy. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm starstruck and bedazzled with the fact that I'm here at all, and that this is happening at all. And I'm still just kind of beside myself. But as it grows and as it stabilizes, I would like to continue to evolve. So that's my goal. You know.
Superb. Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, Pat, look, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. I appreciate it.
Finally meet over the screen. It's been absolutely fantastic. It really has.
Same here, and thanks for having me. It's been really fun. Looking forward to seeing the interview.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much. So I'll sign off and you know, no doubt it'll be very soon that we'll message each other or something, or catch us online or something like that. So
absolutely.
Thank you so much for everything you do for FX Pedal Planet. Thank you so much for everything you do for the community and building these fantastic fuzz machines. And it's going to be an interesting one, I think, to see how Collector Effectors grows.
Thank you.
And I think Justice Gash was absolutely correct. You know, he sort of predicted it. I think it was last year when I spoke to him and he was saying, you know, the waiting list is going to grow and everything like that. I think
shout out to him too, by the way. He's doing incredible building right now.
Isn't he?
Yeah, I'm amazed at how well he's doing, and I'm actually very excited to announce I have 2 coming from him. So I'm looking forward to trying my first Justice Gash creations.
Excellent. I think Pat Brown and Collector Effectors is going to be one to watch for the future. I really do.
Oh, thank you. Well, I appreciate that, Steve. You have a wonderful day. Okay.
Yep. I'll see you later.
All right. See you around.
See you later. Thanks.